Hey, you! Yes, you! Does the real world feel more and more like a badly written TV series? Are you subconsciously starting to question your own reality? The answer is yes to both, which means that in order to escape from the existential dread of living in this reality while keeping your sanity, you have to understand metaphysics, of course. But how can I understand metaphysics if I'm just a dumb consumer that was reprogrammed into submission by my government in the name of capitalism and the economy? Good question. Consume more content, of course, and consume this one. Because I really need to start a Patreon so that I can stop worrying about all the bad shit that society threatens me with.
Okay, so let's start with an easy question. What does your favorite fourth wall breaking pop culture character have in common with the most self-referential subreddit to ever hit the front page? Maybe let's make it a little easier. What do those two things have in common with this sentence? Exactly, they're meta. But what does meta really mean? Well, if we ask Google, it will give us this definition of a creative work referring to itself or to the conventions of its genre, self-referential. That is, however, an incomplete definition since it describes only how the adjective form of meta applies to various forms of media. Meta is in fact not only an adjective, but a noun, a lifestyle, a philosophical movement, an event that transcends time and what deep down underlies the fabric of reality itself. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves here and go back to our safe, government-regulated way of acquiring information. Urban Dictionary is of great help here, providing a more generalized definition of what meta truly means. Meta means about the thing itself. It's seeing the thing from a higher perspective, instead of from within the thing, like being self-aware. Making a movie about the film industry isn't meta. Making a movie about making movies is. Using a footnote to explain another footnote isn't meta. Using a footnote to explain what footnotes are is meta. At this point, we should all have a good understanding of what meta means within the context of a story. The next step is to realize how this whole video was about your story to begin with and how meta applies to you specifically. Why is a character talking to the fourth wall meta? Being aware of and even communicating to the audience indicates that said character knows about their whole reality residing inside of a book or a movie or a simulation or whatever. But that knowledge alone does not grant them the power of transcending their existence. They're still one of the characters in their respective shows with their assigned personality and character traits. Meta-awareness is in fact usually only used in mainstream media to make jokes about the real world or other pop culture references. But believe it or not, Metaness is an intrinsic characteristic of our reality, from the easily dismissed as spiritual nonsense concept of synchronicity and the Holofractal universe, to the scientifically backed notions of unified field theory and harmonic resonance. To grossly oversimplify it, everything is in everything, and reality is a language that is talking to itself about itself. So, what does a meta-aware character look like in reality? Well, you have your bread and butter spiritual teachers and enlightened Zen philosophers. By the way, shoutouts to my boys McKenna and Watts. But they tend to embrace their personal role in the meta story being told and don't end up partaking much in fourth wall breaking. Like a movie character being aware of a higher reality than theirs, but still prioritizing the integrity of the story being told over a shitty pop culture reference. Well, this branch contains most of the religious figures that look at the moon instead of their own finger, and also the swarm of bodhisattvas on their way to nirvana. Well, after all, you can't change the story if you want it to play out the way it was intended, right? But all of those characters seem very far away to most citizens of the internet. Our culture changes at such ludicrous speed that the story we're a part of seems more like the disconnected episodes of a cartoon show than the carefully crafted plot of a movie. So, are there any characters in this capitalist hellscape of disconnected stories that have found meta-awareness despite their own circumstances? Well, yes, you. Don't get me wrong, we have many contemporary humans that embrace and spread meta teaching in their own way. A great example would be The Egg by Andy Weir, but none of them seem to speak your specific language, and who can blame them? When everyone has a different word for rose, it becomes awfully hard to chat about flowers. So, in order to bring meta-awareness to everyone on the internet, I have a modest proposal. Let's give names to the roses, the meta-concepts that appear again and again in our reality, so that we may one day talk about flowers the same way we discuss our favorite works of fiction. Because meta goes both ways, and the inside is the outside. Here's now a list to some connected videos and the different names that have been assigned to their flower. Thanks for watching this episode, and hopefully I'll make another one eventually.